Hello my friends. If you're new to making kombucha, you need to have a mother to start your batch with. And what I did, since I didn't know anybody that made kombucha around where I live, I had to make my own. So what I did was I bought a bottle of Reed's kombucha, and this one, I don't know if you can get plain, but this one is goji ginger, and it's about $4, not quite $4 a bottle. So this one's been chilled. The yeast and bacteria is still alive in there, and there's sediment at the bottom. Most likely that's sediment from the yeast and bacteria, and we need to use that to get our culture started. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a culture in these quart jars, and I'm using a wide mouth jar because I want that mother or the mushroom to be as large as possible, and also to be able to get it out of the jar easily. So I've already rinsed all these off, and this kombucha isn't open, so every time I buy one of these I'm real careful about shaking them up and opening them, because I've already had them explode on me. And this one sat out for a day, so it could have gotten a little more carbonated, but I kept it on the refrigerator so I would have less chance of it overflowing. Okay, once I get it open, then I mix the bottom up, and right here you can see it just formed up. So what I'm going to do then is, this is cold of course, I'm going to pour some of this into my jars, and you can do however much you want. I'm going to try to do two cultures. When I made my first batch, I divided it up amongst two of them. One was successful, the other wasn't, and it was the same batch. I did them, the same. Pretty close to being even. I think when I did the first one, I drank half the bottle and didn't split it evenly. Okay, now I'm also making my own batch of kombucha in this crock pot, and I have hot water in there. It's about half full, right about here, with tea bags in, and I put a couple extra tea bags in there because I'm planning on about 1 tea bag for each of these jars. For this batch here, it makes me 7 of these bottles when it's done, and it takes 6 tea bags into here. Now this was hot water, and I seeped the tea bags in here for about 20 minutes. Then what I'm going to do is top it up with cold water. And you don't want to add hot water to the kombucha that is too hot. So what I do is, if it's not too hot for your finger, it won't be too hot for your kombucha, or for the bacteria and the yeast. Okay, now the tea bags are still in there. I got to remove those. And the tea provides the nutrients for the kombucha to live. I was looking, that says 2 ounces. Okay, I'm just guessing. Now, I also need to have sugar in there. So, one moment. I'm using cane sugar. Beet sugar is genetic engineered, so we're staying away from that. Now, for this batch, I use a cup of sugar. So this is a third cup that I'm using. So I'm making my kombucha at the same time. And this one, I don't think it really matters how much you use. And I've used about a third of a cup. That's probably way more than what's needed. Probably a quarter cup at the most in there. Okay, now this has the kombucha from the bottle in there, so it has the yeast and bacteria, and the sugar is going to feed it. It'll work just like you're brewing wine or beer or whatever. It's going to ferment and create some alcohol in there, and it's going to grow the yeast. And the kombucha, there's, I don't know how many yeast, but there, in bacteria, there's quite a bit that will be in there, different types. Now, to have the best advantage to having a successful batch, you want the pH of this to be such that it will promote the growth of the good bacteria and not the bad one. So to do that, you can use some increase the pH, or actually decrease it. This is acid. You want it to be acidic, so you want to pour some vinegar into this. This will help it have the right start. Get the bacteria and yeast the advantage of growing. Okay, now everything's added. I'm going to top this up now with water, and I'm using warm water. I'm using out of my spigot because I have spring water. If you're making kombucha, you don't want chlorine, which would be out of city water or tap water. That would possibly kill bacteria and yeast. It would not be to your advantage. What you would want to do is purchase some water that was distilled or spring water. Mine out of the spigot is spring water. Okay, now you need to let this air to breathe, so I'm going to use a paper towel, and I'm using the ring from the jar to hold it in place. This will allow it to breathe, and as it's working, it's going to be creating some CO2. When it makes the alcohol, the other byproduct is CO2. Okay, now this, because I didn't have a mother in there to kickstart it, to make the batch work quicker, it's going to take longer. So the first time I did that, it took between 2 and 3 weeks for that to create the mother that's growing on there. And what I'll do is as it's working, as it's aging, I'll keep taking a picture of it with the camera to see how it starts to grow in there. Okay, now with the batch that I'm making here, I've already added the sugar. And I need to top this up with the water. And Also, I always add some of my previous batch of kombucha that I made, and I store my kombucha, the mothers, in the refrigerator in some of the kombucha that I made. So I always take some out and I add some new batch into this and put the new mother in there too. And it has a real pleasant smell. There's no bad smell that comes off of that. Okay, I do need to add water into this. So this is what I'm doing here. I'm not making a new mother. I'm just finishing the batch that I started, and that got me going into how to make a starter mother or mushroom or SCOBY. Okay, this is within an inch of the top, and I'll always keep washing my hands. Now you can see this is the last mother, and it is probably 3/8 of an inch thick, and it's the diameter of the container because that's where I grew it, and it floats. And let me give a close-up here. Here's the container with the mother that I store, and here is the batch. The only thing that I have to do with that now is cover it. And what I use for a cover is a clean cloth, which is this one, and I'm putting the side that was up, I'm putting that on the downside because the top was laying on the counter. The counter was clean, but I'm not trusting it. Okay, and I'm securing it with a rubber band. I'll keep this in my kitchen for about a week, and that should be finished, and then all I have to do is bottle that, and in the meantime the mother that I'm trying to start in the quart jars, which are right here, these are going to be 2 to 3 weeks, and I'll monitor the progress, and I'll keep it warm, and I'm going to keep it in the shade. I'm going to put this inside one of my cupboards so it won't get any direct sunlight. And for right now, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll keep this one updated. Bye-bye.